Now we are over halfway through the OHL season, and I've decided I'm going to make a video breaking down the standings and the trades coming out of the trade deadline here that we just passed, but we will get into those trades in a moment. But first, we're going to go over who is leading the OHL in scoring and in the goaltending department as well. But before I get into that, I'd first like to thank you guys for clicking on this video. And please, if you want to see more content just like this, subscribe. The usual things I say, but we'll get right into this. So in terms of points leading the Ontario Hockey League, Windsor Spitfires winger Liam Greentree, drafted by the LA Kings this past draft, has 76 points in 43 games, followed by Michael Misa with 75 points, and then Greentree's teammate Ilya Protas, coming off from the import draft, has 70 points. He is having himself a season. Another guy who's having himself a season is Kieran Walton with 70 points up in Sudbury. Following that, in Brantford, Nick Lardis, drafted by Chicago a couple drafts ago. He has 66 points and is tied for the league lead in goals with Michael Misa. And then Beckett Seneca, drafted this year, 3rd overall. Missed out on the World Junior Selection Camp, but I imagine he will be back in next year. He's played in 37 games this year and he has 64 points. Porter Martone's projected to be a top pick in this year's draft. He did play in the World Juniors this year for Team Canada. He has 62 points in 32 games so far this season. Ryan Robrick has 61 points. He is projected to go pretty high, not this year's draft, but the 2026 NHL entry draft. Then Patrick Thomas from Brantford, 61 points, and 42 of those were assists. And he likes feeding Lardis, as you can tell. Cedric Guindon, OA, got traded from Owen Sound in the summer before the season to Kingston. He has 58 points. Henry Muse, 58 points as well. Leeds defenseman Jacob Battaglia from Kingston has 57 points as well. Luke Misa with 57 also. Carson Raykop, who has played 32 games, has 55 points. And Jake O'Brien rounds out that top 15 as a projected first-round pick in this year's draft. Now, looking at rookies, we'll just quickly go over the top 5. Leading the rookies, Brady Wasslin has 32 points in 37 games. He is going to be a great player for this organization. Drafted 4th overall in that OHL draft last season. And I was fortunate enough to be able to watch him in London a couple weeks ago. And man, when this kid grows up, he is going to be a great goal scorer in this league. He already has a great shot. And following Wasslin, we have Carson Harmer, projected 4th round pick this year. He's an 07. He has 30 points in 41 games. 17 of those were goals. He looks good out there this season so far for the Spirit. And another rookie from the Spirit who is 3rd in scoring is Jacob Cloutier. And he also has 30 points on the year. So a lot of young talent in Saginaw, and we'll get into their trades they made from the deadline, but with all the picks they got, this team's future is very bright, even after coming off of that Memorial Cup run. And in 4th in scoring is the 1st overall pick from last year's draft, Ethan Belchez. And he has 29 points in 35 games. Maybe he could put up more, but at the same time, he is a rookie. He's had a great year so far, and he's going to be a great player. I can promise you that. And in 5th, Beckham Edwards, who was stealing last year's draft for Sarnia, was committed to USHL and came back to the OHL and has 25 points in 37 games. Sarnia's also a team with a pretty solid future with Alessandro there as well. And now we'll get into the top 5 goalies in the OHL. In terms of save percentage, I have it ranked in save percentage because I think that trumped goals against average. And in 1st, I have Ben Hrebeck from Barrie. .933 save percentage, .230 goals against average, 13-4 and 1 record. And he's played very, very well this year. Following that from Kitchener, Jackson Parsons 216 goals against average, 923 save percentage, and he has played a ton of games for this team. He's a 26, 8-2 record. And yeah, he's one of the best in the league. Alexei Medvedev from London, the rookie goaltender. 251 goals against average, 922 save percentage, and he is 15-5-1 with the Knights. The other London Knights goaltender started out the league with the Saskatoon Blades, an overager. Comes back to London. He has a 914 save percentage, 230 goals against average, and a crazy and insane 18-0-0 record. No one has beat this guy. Best tandem in the league, arguably. But man, London Knights goalies, wow. Then in North Bay, Mike McIver with a 909 save percentage, 285 goals against average. He has 12-10-2, despite being on a non-playoff team as of right now. He's held this team in and kept them together. And now we will get into the trades that took place on the trade deadline. And man, let's just say there were a few. Definitely a few. And probably the biggest one that came between the Barrie Colts and the North Bay Battalion, Owen Van Steentel and Anthony Romani, go to Barrie for Parker Vaughan, Zach Weigel, and a conditional 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, and 7th round draft picks. And I saw this trade and got really excited that we get to see a reunion. Sorry, I was trying to find that word. I couldn't find it. And it's going to be very exciting. This line was one of the best of the OHL last year, and I'm excited to see what they can do this year with maybe even a better team than they had last year. And they won't be relied upon to score as much as they had to last year to be successful. And North Bay got a very good return. Parker Vaughan, he only has 9 points in 31 games he had with Barrie. This year he looks really good up with North Bay here, just because he's getting more playing time, right? And he's going to be a very good player. Zach Weigel, OA, they had to bring him on in that exchange, right? He's going to be a good leader for these youngsters on North Bay, and it's looking really good up north. Also up north, another big one, Andrew Gibson, who came back from the World Juniors. He gets shipped off to Oshawa, and he had 7 points in 26 games with the Sioux as an assistant captain, and he is a solid defenseman, so it is a good trade and a good guy to bring on for Oshawa. And in the return, listen to this one, Brady Smith had 7 points in 37 games with the Generals. Now he does have 4 and 6 with the Greyhounds. So Brady Smith, a Oshawa 4th, Oshawa 2nd, Oshawa 3rd, Oshawa 4th, Peterborough 4th, Oshawa 6th, Oshawa 7th. So Oshawa unloading to get Andrew Gibson. Will it pay off? We'll see when the playoffs come, because Andrew Gibson is a guy who's going to be grinding out blocking shots in the playoffs, and we'll see. Another trade, Matthew Manza from the Frontenacs has never played a game in the OHL and is committed to Ohio State. Now he's played one game with Sarnia, and he has 1 goal in that game. So a very nice pickup for Sarnia to add to that young forward group. They give up a 10th round and a conditional 4th round and another 4th round for Manza. Now Saginaw had a couple big ones with Kingston. Ethan Hayes and Will Bishop, 2 guys who have been in a Spirit jersey for a while, are going to Kingston for Xander Valaris and a Sarnia 2nd, Kingston 4th, Kingston 5th, Brantford 6th, Erie 2nd, Flint 3rd, another 3rd from Kingston. And the other trade between these teams involves Joey Willis, who had 34 points in 26 games with Saginaw, played 2 games with USA in the World Junior Championships, and he is traded for Ethan Weir, who had just 1 point, a Niagara 3rd, a Flint 2nd, a Sarnia 3rd, Kingston 3rd, Kingston 5th, Erie 2nd, Erie 4th, and Kitchener 7th. So Kingston trying to load up here with Hay, Bishop, and Willis. You see trying to match with Barrie. They're also in the Eastern Conference. So these Eastern Conference teams are really trying to upgrade their rosters at the deadline. Kingston did give it a lot for these guys, but they're going for it this year. Another trade here, Connor Smith, the captain of the Owen Sound Attack, at 8 points in 8 games. He is an overager. And surprisingly, Owen Sound got a lot for him. They got a second-round pick, a 7th, a 3rd, a 6th, and a 5th, and another 2nd and another 10th from Brampton, which is where he is going. Also an Eastern Conference team. Luke McNamara from Kingston got shipped over to Windsor for a 5th. And Owen Sound is not done. They got rid of probably their best player, Sam McHugh, for a 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, and 15th. And a conditional 15th for Cole Zurowski, if I said that right. If I said that wrong, comment and tell me how to say it. And a 15th round pick to go with that. So another very good prospect coming in here for Owen Sound. And he had 15 points in 32 games, projected of 31 points in 63. It's going to be a really good player. He's an 08. And Caden Johnston goes to Saginaw for a 10th round pick from Sarnia. Another interesting trade involves Kingston and Sioux. So Kingston moved a lot of guys around this trade deadline. Charlie Schenkel from the Greyhounds got moved to Kingston, and he did .914 save percentage and played a lot with the Sioux, 25 games. He's 6'5" and gets traded for another OA, Nolan Lalonde, who got moved from Saginaw in the offseason to Kingston. And he did have his struggles at times with Kingston, an .884 save percentage, but he's still playing decently well. And he got traded to the Greyhounds along with a 5th, 3rd, and 6th round pick. The funny thing is, too, is Schenkel is struggling now a little bit with Kingston, so we'll see how that plays out. Thomas Budnick from Guelph went to Brantford for a 3rd and a 5th. Brantford trying to booster their depth. This next one's one that kind of surprised me a little. Brady Stonehouse got traded to Peterborough for a 4th and a 6th. He is signed with the Edmonton Oilers, and he didn't put up huge numbers in his OHL career. He's an overager, but he was a very solid player. It's kind of surprising to me how he didn't get dealt to maybe a team contending for maybe a championship or in the running for that. But hey, what do I know? Another bigger size trade, I'd say. Wyatt Kennedy from the North Bay Battalion got sent down to the Windsor Spitfires for a 2nd round, 3rd round, 4th round, and 8th round pick, as well as Adrian Manzo. So Kennedy going to Windsor. Windsor, another team who's trying to compete in that Western Conference. Noah Roberts from Brantford got sent to Sudbury. And the last big trade, and I mean the last trade I'm going to even go over here, is Henry Muse. He was leading all defensemen in points in the league, and he gets traded from the 67th to Sudbury, and in exchange for Nolan Jackson, a 3rd, a 5th, a 2nd, another 2nd, a 3rd, and a conditional 8th, 9th, and 7th round pick. That was a lot of talking. But the last thing we'll go over here is how the standings are looking so far, my predictions, and how each team is doing so far. And also, before I even continue in doing that, I'd first like to remind you guys, subscribe, and also in the link down below, click on my Instagram. I'm going to start posting a lot more on there. Just my thoughts on anything really, maybe even the bets I'm putting down on the NHL and all of hockey really. I don't know. We'll see. Just make sure you follow it. And I have something coming out pretty soon, so you're going to want to follow it for that. But anyways, we'll get back to the standings here. Alright, we'll start in the Eastern Conference here, where the difference between 1st and 5th place is only 4 points. And the difference between 1st and 7th is 11 points, sorry. So in the Eastern this year, it is very, very tight. I don't imagine how it is right now will be how it is when the season is over. But in the 10th spot, And a team that is the worst worst statistically in the league with 27 points, 10-6 record, 10-26. The Peterborough Petes. And they still have a very young team, right? Not a whole lot expected. It was another rebuild year. I don't imagine they leave that 10 spot when the season is over. Obviously, brought in Stonehouse, but he's more of a guy kind of groom and teach these younger guys the ways of the league. And then in the 9th spot, and this is an interesting one, the North Bay Battalion, who have brought in a lot of young talent this year. Still kind of going for more of that rebuild, but I think the way they're playing right now, Mike McIver's played very well, right? He's a goalie that can bring them along in their future, as well as Procession. But you look at the 8th spot, the 67s have 36 points and a game on the Battalion. And with all the moves the 67s have made, the guys they've got rid of, I honestly think the Battalion by the end of the season will make the playoffs. Might be a crazy thing to say, but I think they make it here. So there's I'd put those 3 teams in kind of one group. And then we got the top 7, which the Brampton Steelheads, who have just been kind of riddled with injuries and whatnot, and guys leaving for World Juniors, but they also haven't played how they've probably drew it up the start of the year, right? They have 45 points, 41 games. They haven't played bad. They've played well, especially now they're heating up. But yeah, they're in 7th. They can climb to first place if they wanted to. It's just how it is. The Wolves, they have 49 points, 42 games played. They've surprised me. I thought they weren't going to be as good as they were, but they've got some goaltending, and their offense has still been there. In the 5th spot, a team that's really heating up now, and I believe they're 7-2 and 1 in their last 10. The Brantford Bulldogs. And they have a very good team. Ryerson Leonard is a great goaltender. Defensively, they're solid. And up front, they're dangerous. So this is a team I would not want to play in the first round. Like, even looking at that first round, Frontenac's Bulldogs, that's crazy to me. But in that 4th spot, with 1 point on the Bulldogs with 53 points, is the Kingston Frontenacs. And they have a very good team as well. And they've gelled great together. This season, acquiring those 3 guys from the Spirit are going to help a lot. This team could be first. It's just any of these teams, it's up for grabs, first place and in this conference here. And in that 3rd spot, the Barrie Colts, who brought in Vincenzo Romani, reuniting that line. It's going to be very good, very entertaining to watch. And this is a team that's a playoff team. They got size, skill, a lot of size, and got guys who are willing to hit. But they're in that 3rd spot. And then in the 2nd spot, who are a huge surprise for me, the Niagara Ice Dogs. Owen Flores has stolen a lot of games for them. And they've scored goals, timely goals, to win hockey games, but they've struggled as of late. And they're a team, they're in 2nd right now. They say they play the Steelheads. I'd take the Steelheads in that one. Just a lot of inexperience in the playoffs, and I don't know if when they start playing those top teams, I don't know if they can pull it through. But then the 1st spot, a team that is absolutely loaded. I'd say on paper, maybe more loaded than the rest of these teams, but that doesn't really change that it's still up for grabs. The Oshawa Generals with 56 points, and they're still playing great hockey. I think something still needs to click. They could be even better than they are, but that is the Eastern Conference for you guys. And then on to the Western Conference in that 10 spot. We have the Guelph Storm, who in my predictions at the start of the year, I had them, I think it was 5th, up there, up at the top of the Western Conference. This year, it hasn't been it. It hasn't been it for this group. They decided that they were going to kind of sell off and rebuild, and they've done that and done a great job, got quite a bit back. Obviously, getting rid of Cam Allen, Gillespie, but I can't see them making the playoffs with their group now. Luchenko can only do so much. Owen Sound Attack also sold a bit here at the deadline. I can't see them moving up. Carter George could steal a few more for them, but we'll see. The Greyhounds, 37 points. They haven't had a great year. I think I had them out of the playoffs, I believe. Maybe? No, I had them in that 8th spot, I think. Just they've lost so much, and now they didn't add a whole lot, so they're kind of just satisfied with where they are now. It looks like I can't see them moving out of that 8th spot as well. Sarnia Sting, who have a lot of young talent, played really well, especially lately. You can see 7-3. Things are working. They got a great goalie. Things are working in Sarnia. They could even move up to that 6th spot. And yeah, it gets pretty close here in the middle. The Firebirds, who have not played very well, especially with the expectations that they had going in. They brought in McHugh at the deadline. He'll help, but something needs to happen for this group if they want to make a playoff run, right? That's what their mission was in the offseason, to bring in guys that could help them win, and haven't really won too much so far. Saginaw Spirits selling off their guys. Still, they have a great roster. They're kind of passing up on this year. I imagine they're very competitive next year, and even the year after that. Great moves by their general manager there. Erie Otters, they also have a great team this year, 46 points. I think they could win a little bit more maybe than they've liked, but still been solid in a team I would hate to play in the playoffs. So it's looking like Saginaw Erie first round so far, but things will probably change here. And then you got your top 3 with Kitchener, 31, 966 points. This team, losing Rakoff, you don't know how it's going to go, but the younger guys have stepped up. The draft eligibles have stepped up. Reed, Romano, they look great. This team's good. They just beat the Knights, and Jack Predom as well. The acquisition they got in midway through the season. It's been a goal scorer for them. Then the Spitfires, who, just what a story. They're the worst team in the OHL last year. Bring all their guys back mostly, and even add some. Get Belchets, and just like that, they're up there. Well, only 4 points behind the London Knights. And the London Knights, 69 points. What else do I need to say? They're dominating the league once again. You look on paper, they're too good. They're just too good. The amount of draft picks they have and the way Dale Hunter coaches them, it's hard to say this team is not going to win the Ontario Hockey League Championship. And if I was going to pick that team, it would be the Knights for sure. They have the goaltending, the defense, and the forwards. I don't know. It's like their team's even better than last season. In the Eastern Conference, who would I have coming out of that atop of it? I think on paper I'd have to say the Generals keep going, but any team could win. I'll stick with the Generals for now. We'll see though. There's only 20 games left, less than 20 games, or a bit more than 20 games. Sorry, I wasn't great at math. Left in the year, and we'll see. But yeah, with that being said, like and subscribe right now. I'm never going to make a video ever again. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.